thanks for watching my 9 to 10 minute presentation on recycling. My name is Jasdeep Singh, and today I'd like to talk about the problem of not enough recycling. I feel like we're quickly surrounding ourselves with mountains of garbage. Now is the time for decision makers and us all to find out how we can work together to renew the planet. I've given a lot of thought to recycling, to the value of it. I've studied literature and taken courses at the Santa Rosa Junior College. It's helped enlighten me with more information on the topic. My purpose here today is I want to help persuade you to help me with the problem of not enough recycling. Well, why does it matter? Well, of course, we all share this planet. I believe we are past the luxury of being able to carelessly exploit it. And of course, as populations grow, available land for all our garbage continues to shrink, and the problem of not enough recycling will only exacerbate. And recycling matters for many reasons, and I'd like to talk to you today about them. I define recycling as when you take something, you undergo a process of renewing it, reusing it, and that way it's subject for future use. So first I will discuss a few causes of maybe why there isn't enough recycling. There are many more out there, but I want to talk about three that I thought up. Effects of not enough recycling, what that's doing to our one world that we have, and finally I want to speak about some solutions I thought of. Some of the causes of not enough recycling are these three that I list here, and I will get more into that in a moment. So what I mean by throwaway culture is that when you look all around you, and if you haven't thought about it like this before, you might need to shift your paradigm, your way of thinking for a second. But we have created a lot of one-time use items, and that is okay for certain industries. I believe some of the nastier things you might not think about, like medical waste, stuff like that, needs to be sterile. You want it just to be one-time use. But when it comes to the house, our culture, or at least mine, might have paper napkins that get thrown out, one-time use products bought from the store. We unwrap all its packaging, we throw out the packaging, we use the product, and we throw out the product and go repeat. Really, this stuff belongs in a recycling bin. I work at a fast food restaurant, and so I've noticed over the past few years that from the packaging, the silverware, the cups, everything that the customer buys is one-time use. A lot of it ends up in the garbage. Most of it, if not all of it, should end up in a recycling bin. And so when I talk about electronics, if you think about cell phones, those are real nasty. The batteries only last a couple of years. The rechargeable batteries aren't forever. So we're cycling through cell phones every couple of years, and when it ends up in the landfills, it's real not good. It should be recycled. One-time use electronics also include, I believe a lot more stuff used to be repaired. Now it's just throw it away and buy a new one. And with clothes, there's a lot of dyes, a lot of pollution that might go into that. I don't know if people need as many clothes as they have, but hey, that's not for me to say. But they should end up being used more or in a secondhand store and not the garbage. Perhaps education is part of the causes of not enough recycling. I've heard a lot about, through my studies, that if there were more recycling bins, if it was more convenient, people might recycle more. Maybe people just don't know how important it is to recycle. Another cause might be the lack of mandatory enforcement. In 2012, California made it a law to reduce waste. I'm not sure if the enforcement part of that is really being done or if it's just better on paper. Okay, so next I want to talk about the effects of not enough recycling since I've talked about the causes. I'm going to talk about pollutants in the environment. I'm going to talk a little bit about plastic in the oceans, and I'm going to talk about our landfills. So, according to the EPA, they're a big federal government regulation body. About half of that, of our waterways here in California, are polluted, and they're not quite getting cleaned up as good as they should be. So, that's one effect of all this garbage and not enough recycling. Another effect is the Great Pacific Garbage Vortex, and there are, I think, like 5 of them out there. And just real quickly, when we throw out our garbage or it doesn't get recycled properly, some of it ends up going into our waterways, some of it goes into the ocean, kind of thing. And so the world's garbage is ending out up in the ocean, and it's not going anywhere once it's out in the ocean. Following currents, it's following the jet streams, the weather patterns, and it's circling around, and it's something that can be seen from space. It's real nasty stuff. Not to mention, it's ugly to see, but imagine the species that habitate those waters. Another effect of not enough recycling, and excuse me, that's not supposed to say garage landfills, it's supposed to be garbage landfills, but another effect of not recycling is all the recyclable stuff that ends up in our landfills. Paper, food waste, plastics, they have no business being at a landfill, but yet pictures time and time and again, you see a lot of that stuff there. Now that I've talked about some of the effects of not enough recycling, I want to talk about some of the solutions. Living green really can be easy. What we can start personally doing about it is changing our habits. Start looking at what we throw out and maybe taking a second look at what we throw out. You can start at home. Food waste really has no business in a garbage can. It belongs in the compost bin. At work, I think leading by example is an important thing to do. The younger generation, if they start seeing more adults taking it upon themselves to recycle, change can happen. People at work, just go out there, and I was speaking earlier about not enough recycling bins being conveniently located. Well, bring one to work, bring one to your workspace, wherever it is, and start recycling. Okay, another solution to our problem would be at the state level, and that could be, for example, I found an example of a garbage cleanup that California did just this September 2014. And since we are in a drought, a lot more garbage is coming up to the surface. It's a lot more visible as the water's receding. A lot of the stuff that was there before, real ugly stuff, is coming up. So I think a lot of communities, with help from local governments, state governments, would be happy. Nonprofit organizations, everyone would be happy to get out there and find a solution to this problem. National level solutions might include the Congress enacting more enforcement, more legislation. Recycling is everyone's problem. It's not just a finger pointing game. So change really should start from the top. The Environmental Protection Agency has a program called WasteWise, and it's a great program. It's a great solution. They help companies, businesses, people figure out how to conserve resources, but it's a voluntary program. Perhaps we can start looking at some solutions that are more mandatory so we can see change, cut down our waste quicker. Okay, thank you. So now that I've reviewed the causes, effects, and solutions, I'm just going to say by maybe next time you see no garbage along the side of the road, you might get a feeling of deja vu with our healthier planet instead of deja vu when you see that garbage not in the recycling bin. Thank you.